In this video, I'm going to be doing a deep dive on the differences between Asana's Enterprise and Enterprise Plus plans. Now, if you are on the starter plan or the advanced plan and you're looking to upgrade, wondering what the benefits are, or if you're new to the platform and just exploring your options, and more specifically, if you are a CIO, CTO, IT or IS director, manager, sysadmin, network admin, etc., then this is absolutely the video for you. The first thing I want to talk about today is just the difference between a standard project management tool or a traditional project management tool and Asana's work management platform. And so, as you can see here, what we have are different departments. So we have marketing, operations, IT, sales, and product. And what we're looking at here is the traditional container model. This is how many of the project management tools operate today, where you can see there are clear silos between the departments. Sure, there is work that needs to happen across these departments, but there isn't a clear, consistent, and standardized way that these teams work. And so, what this leads to is duplicative work, people searching for status and searching for updates on various tasks and projects, communication ending up in multiple tools rather than being centralized and integrated into the very workflows that drive a lot of our projects. And so, it's clear to see that this container model is broken because of these silos that have been established. Now, what Asana does is it really flips that on its head. And so this is what we call the work graph at Asana. And so this clearly illustrates the relationship between all the different aspects, features, and places around Asana where you and your team would work. And it starts at the lowest level here, but probably the most important level, the task level. And so as you can see, there are tasks. These are the smaller packets of work that you can assign to an individual. These have a due date, they have an assignee. There's a clear description of what needs to be done and taken care of within that time frame. All of your communication happens in that task. You can upload files to that task. You can link to that task. There's a lot that you can do at the task level. But as you move up the work graph here, you can see that these tasks live inside of projects. And so these are those larger bundles of work where you organize all of these tasks. These tasks can be organized by custom fields or sections. You can have different groupings and filters, but really these projects organize your work in a way where everyone can see who is responsible for what, by when, and ultimately why they are doing that work. And what you can see here, or hopefully you can see, is as the tasks connect to these projects, you can see that one task can live in multiple projects. So to make it clear, you have one instance of a task that is visible inside of multiple projects that is then visible to multiple teams. And so you have one instance where all of your communication, all of the work, all of the updates, all of the activity around that task is visible by multiple people across different teams. And we call this multi-homing inside of Asana. This allows us to have a central source of truth around that task and around that work that is happening, while still allowing the groups within those different projects to have their own separate workflows. So in project A here, you would have workflow A, where it's maybe to do, in progress, and done. And in project B here, you have maybe it's to do, in progress, or scoping, then in progress, then approval required, approved, and then done. So you can have multiple stages while still having visibility on that single task. Then as we move up the work graph, we go to portfolios. And so portfolios give us a view of like or grouped projects. And so just think of them as simple folders where you can take projects and you can put them and organize them into region or department or different levels or tiers in your management or your senior leadership. And at the portfolio level, you can report on all the projects within. You can see a timeline of all the projects within. You can also see the workload of the resources and the people within all of those different projects. And then we have what are called nested portfolios within Asana as well. So you can further drill down and create subcategories or subfilters, in this case, subfolders of your different projects to get further organized. And then as we ladder up, what's really different about Asana is you can connect all of your work here to your goals, your organization's goals, or your team goals. So if the marketing team is responsible for A, B, and C, and the sales team is responsible for D, E, and F, we can see all of that work and then connect it to the company or organization goals as well. We can also then track the visibility and the status of that work via projects that we work on or singular tasks as well across the organization. And then last and most certainly not least is all of this work in the organization ladders up to our mission. This is the why we are doing this work. This is the most important part, I think, of the work graph. There's everything else that leads up to it, but if we don't know why we're doing this work, it leaves room for ambiguity or for team members to not feel like they're a part of something. So we always want it to tie into that central mission. And when we zoom out, we get this, the work graph in action. And so what you can see represented by the colors on the right is we have green represents our marketing, red is operations, IT is purple, and so on. And all of these tiny nodes that you see here are all individual projects and workspaces where work is currently happening. And the stems that we connect all of these nodes through, that's where all of our multi-homing is happening, our collaboration, our communication. Anytime a task or a comment or a project is linked to another space or a goal is linked to a project, it shows up in this way. And so this is a visual representation of what the true work graph looks like. And again, if this was the container model that a lot of the traditional project management tools follow, we would not have this level of communication and coordination around our work. So I wanted to give you that quick overview so that if you're new to Asana, you're not sure how it works, you can get a better understanding of what we're going to be discussing next. So let's get into it. We're going to start with the enterprise tier deep dive. All right. And then we'll move to the enterprise plus. Again, all this information can be found at asana.com. Some of the features that we're talking about today are not explained in detail. And so I'm taking it a step further to give you some oversight. So the first one we're going to look at on the enterprise plan is universal workload. Now, if you have portfolios, you're on the advanced plan or above, you do have access to workload. You can then go in and add your different projects to a portfolio. You can see all that work there. You can see the capacity and the time or the workload that your team currently holds. You can also see that at the project level. But what universal workload allows you to do is on the left side of Asana, you have your My Tasks, your home, your different insights, your reports. When you click on reporting right there, you'll have a global view of all the workload across the organization. So all you have to do, rather than putting in projects, is you can put in the people from your teams. You can add people from a portfolio, you can add people from different teams, and you can see the workload assigned across the entire organization. So it gives you a real-time snapshot into how your team is currently resourced so that project managers or leaders can make more informed decisions. Then we move to capacity planning, same kind of thing. Not to be confused with workload, capacity planning is for future resource management. Workload shows you what's happening right now. Capacity planning is what's coming up. So this allows you to plan for 2, 3, 4, 5 months into the future where you can put placeholders assigned to people or projects so you know what's coming up and you can make decisions around who will be assigned and when. So this allows you to plan for any kind of PTO or upcoming holidays, or of course, the big projects that we all want to manage. Next, we look at goal types and templates. And so within Asana, we have goals. So if you're on, again, the advanced plan and up, you will have access to this. But at the enterprise level, you have the ability to set templates for your most commonly used goals. And so you can have objectives that are set up, key results that are set up, and you can determine what you want your team to fill out so that your goals, when added into Asana, are then standardized. And so that allows for more streamlined communication and an understanding around the goals of the org. Then move to endorsed teams. This is a little known feature, but when a new team member is onboarding, these are the teams that will be suggested to them to join. You get a little little badge right there. It's hard to see on this slide, but you get a little badge there that shows them this is a team that you should join. These are shared workspaces where anyone can come to. This can be an internal knowledge base. This can be in operations. This can be the teams where you'll generally be communicating or receiving information. It can be whatever you want it to be. But endorsed teams are one of those things that's available on Enterprise. And then we move to workflow bundles. Now, what workflow bundles allows you to do is standardize and scale your work across your entire organization by standardizing things like sections, fields, rules. And so, what happens is when we have different templates we create, these are project templates we create, sometimes we make changes to those templates. And so, if we've deployed 100 templates that we're currently working through, and then decide at some point that we want to improve the rules, update the task templates or the fields inside of that template, we want to also make those changes to the pre-existing projects that originated from that template. And so workflow bundles allows us to deploy any changes that we make to, again, sections, rules, fields, task templates at mass by the click of a button. And so if that's something that you've been struggling with or been looking for in a work management tool, then this is absolutely going to benefit you and your team. And then we get to more streamlined team admin controls where you can control who can add people to teams, who can make changes within those teams, or if they can just be a member of that team. And so there's a lot more granular features that you can drill down into. Then we go to the different integrations. Now, I will say that Asana has several partners in the data, BI, audit space, compliance space, where once we reach the enterprise or enterprise plus level, we have access to these further integrations. So Tableau is one of those where you can connect your data, bring it out of Asana into a Tableau system, and get more granular details on your reporting. Power BI is another one of those partners where we have the ability now to take our data outside of Asana once we're on the enterprise plan. Salesforce is another one of those partners that once we're on the enterprise, we can pull our information out, we can sync back and forth our different opportunities, and we can enable the teams that are in Asana to see what's happening in real time within Salesforce. And what that looks like is you get a little card inside of an Asana task to show the status of any opportunities. And then you can use that integration within your rules or your workflow builder to then further automate your work within Asana. And then we have admin announcements. This is a really nice feature. If you're currently using Asana, you'll notice from time to time you get a little blue notification bar at the top of your Asana, something about updating Asana's terms and conditions, and you want to read them. And you can click a button to learn more. So what this allows you to do is create announcements that go out to your entire organization. So anyone with a domain email that matches your company, you'll be able to send out an announcement. So if you need them to read a press release or read an internal memo or remind them of something that's upcoming, or someone just got a promotion and you want to share that information globally without it having to be a task, you can go into your admin console, create that announcement, set the time frame that you want it to run for, and then you can have that displayed to everyone inside of your org. Custom onboarding is another great feature where when someone does come onto your team, you're bringing someone else in new. We have standard templates you can deploy and they can check through those different tasks. But when they start up Asana, when they open it for the very first time, Asana kind of does its own onboarding where it says, hey, this is a project, this is a team, create your own project, start a task or create a task. What this allows us to do is customize their experience the first time they log into Asana. So we can customize this information where we can put our company logo, our company name, our own messaging. We can customize that welcome screen, what content they would see, what teams they're automatically added to, and what projects they would have access to at that point as well. So you can get pretty detailed as to what you can add in here, but it just reduces the time and effort that it does take to get someone up to speed, especially if they're brand new to the tool. And then we get more centralized admin access controls. And so again, related to projects or teams or sharing permissions, we can change all of those settings within our admin console, within our teams. or within our projects themselves. And so we can get pretty granular, whereas you can even get down to now at this point in time, January 2025, the different permissions for fields. We have private fields now. And so admins can make those changes once we get to this level as well. So there's a lot of flexibility there. We also can enable SAML and SSO at this point as well. And so this is a big requirement. We hear this a lot of time from IT managers. They want to know, can we enable SSO? Yes, you can. And so this happens in the admin console. You can configure it with your Google Workspace or your Active Directory, whatever it may be that you're using, your Azure, even Okta at this point. And so there's a lot that you can do here as well. And then we go to SCIM. So again, if you have Okta and you want to enable it, you can connect that through Asana as well for faster provisioning. You can then enable mandatory 2FA where they need to use Okta or use a Google code generator to access their Asana as well. So this just allows for enhanced security. Then we get service accounts. And so if you're an admin and you're doing any kind of API deployment or any kind of testing, if you're creating fields en masse, generating any kind of project, setting up your hierarchy in Asana, it's often best to do that with a service account that is global to your organization, where you can better have control over the creation of projects, spaces. You can run tests within these accounts as well, or with these accounts. And so it just gives you a lot of flexibility where you don't have to use up a user seat to do a lot of this testing and building that you would do in real time. And so that's a really cool feature for us to have. We can then restrict guest invites at the admin console level, and that would conclude our enterprise tier. Now let's just go into the Enterprise Plus. So this is one step above our Enterprise. This is the final tier inside of Asana. And so really this is where you are going to see those big differences. And so what I want to say before we get started here is this next section is more on compliance, security, data redundancy, backup exports, and audit logs. And so if that's important to you and you really need to have those things and you want to see what this looks like, you can go and do that. And so what I'll kind of show you here initially is how Asana thinks about security. So Asana is SOC 2, Type 2 compliant, HIPAA compliant, GDPR ready, and everything else that you see here. There are also a set of partners. I mentioned some of those earlier, Salesforce, Tableau, Power BI, but here we have Microsoft, Okta, ServiceNow, Splunk. You're going to want to pay attention to that one. That allows us to unlock further integrations. So I'll pause here. If you do have any other questions about how Asana handles your security, there is a link you can go to that explains it in great detail, and that is security.asana.com. And so when we get there, you're going to see this page here. It tells you everything you need to know about trust. It shows you all the different compliance badges, and there is documentation on everything from testing to security, to product security features, data governance, the different terms, reports. You can really see everything here that you need to know. And there is a knowledge base of more information. So this is your official trust center for Asana if you do have any questions that I wasn't able to answer for you today. Now, I mentioned some of those partners, right? If we want to set up audit logs inside of Asana, there is an audit log at the admin console level where it shows you activity. So who's logging in, who's logging out, what data is being entered into Asana, what data is being exported out of Asana, and all of those changes. You can export a custom report by selecting different variables that you want to see and then getting that report emailed right out to you. But if you do have a Splunk, a Panther in this case, Microsoft Defender, you can also connect those tools to get more granular audit trail information. Same thing with our partner in Nightfall here. You can get data loss prevention information. So any data that is taken out of Asana, you can then receive alerts around that data. So you can make any changes or jump in and take action as your policies would require you to do. And then we get further archiving integration. This is through our partner at Theta Lake. And so, as you can see, this gives you access to just more sophisticated backups, archiving. And so you can really manage your data at a more granular scale. And then there are different eDiscovery integrations with various partners as well. So you can pull different data relating to topics for any individuals within your space around any legal compliance as well. So it's a better way to scale those compliance initiatives. If you have annual reviews or annual requirements or certifications that you require of your team, you can make all of those changes here, or you can look into the status of those certifications to make sure that your team is compliant. Sandboxes is another great feature at the Enterprise Plus plan. And so, if you are, again, doing any testing, building with the API, rather than doing it in a live production space, you can set up a sandbox where you can create and test and deploy inside of a safe space, not interrupting any of the day to day work. And then validate any of those changes there before moving them into the production space. I will say that this is a request you need to make when you go into your admin console at Enterprise Plus. You'd request for a sandbox, and then you'll see it show up below your main organization there. You can then delete the sandbox. When you do that, it does delete all of the information within your sandbox. You can recover it, your sandbox, for a certain time, but if you recover it, your data will no longer be there. So you just want to be careful of how you're managing the sandbox and make sure that you've done all your testing, you've backed up everything, brought it over to your production space before removing your sandbox or even access to it. You then get more advanced app controls, so you can turn on and off what apps your team, your organization has access to. And so if you don't want people to be installing certain things and connecting them due to additional privacy or security concerns or policies you have, then you can make those adjustments at the admin console level. Trusted domains is another great feature. So this will benefit any teams that maybe are under an umbrella company or a group of companies, and you have multiple domains with people that would need to access your Asana. And so with Asana, you have your main members and you have your guests. A guest is someone that doesn't match the domain of your current company. And so you could have, 5 companies under an umbrella company, and they would all have access as members so long as you add those trusted domains here. And so you'd be able to access all that information here under the security in admin consoles to add all those different domains. And then, similar to the app controls, you can also manage how files are updated. And so, by default, you can attach files from your computer from Dropbox, Box, Google Drive, OneDrive, SharePoint. But if you are a Microsoft shop and you don't want anyone, say, accessing or inputting information from their personal Dropbox, you can close off those integrations, so they can only access the ones that you have deemed suitable or secure for your company. And then domain exports. And so we have the ability to remove all of our information. So if we want to take the data somewhere else, maybe we're moving off of the platform, or we want to do some kind of audit ourselves internally, then we can pull all this information outside of Asana really easily. We have further mobile controls as well. So Asana has a fantastic mobile app. It keeps getting better every single day. I'm going to do another video on that. But around security, it allows you to add in further security requirements like biometrics or Face ID. And so anyone who is using Asana, if they're on the go, if they're not at their desktop, where mandatory 2FA is required, then you can have it on their mobile phones. And so we enable 2FA and biometric Face ID sign-ins periodically, so that when anyone's traveling or any changes are made, we can make sure that we are secure as well. Let me get enterprise key management within Asana. This is not automatically turned on. This is a request that needs to be made. You can then choose where your data is stored. There are global data centers. Here we have United States, European Union, Australia, and Japan. And so depending on where you are in the world, or where your company does business, or where your company doesn't do business, you can tell Asana where you want your data to be housed as well. And so again, this is not something that is automatically turned on. You have to request it from Asana's support team. So if that's something you need support with, please let Asana support know, or we at Surface can also help you. Asana is also HIPAA compliant. So I will let you know this is an add-on to Asana. And so you'd be paying an additional amount per user that would be accessing health or insurance information. And so it is compliance ready, but you would need to request that add-on and then give in a quote for what it would look like to add that number of users for HIPAA. And so what HIPAA does when it's turned on is it turns off certain features by default. Things like AI on the platform turns it off by default. There are various video recording tools on the platform, Vimeo more specifically. And so it would turn off screen video recording. It would turn off some mobile phone access as well. So just make sure that you go through the full list of requirements when looking at HIPAA. You will need to sign a BAA with Asana as well. So make sure that you understand what you're signing before you turn this on, because you will lose access by default to a lot of features. And then if you do turn those features on, you can't say that you're fully HIPAA compliant. And so make sure you look out for that. Enterprise Plus also allows you this multi-org deployment. So rather than having one organization with multiple domains, you can then have global access to manage multiple organizations. Not to be confused with workspaces. Workspaces, I will say, are add-ons to your current organization space where you have a singular team. You can add any team members in there. There isn't as much control or privacy. Not everyone would have access to all the settings or admin controls. And so workspaces have a certain use case, but in this case, you'd be managing multiple organizations where you can deploy things like HIPAA across them and make sure that you're monitoring different security and compliance through electronic key management and things of that nature. So that will conclude our overview for today of the Enterprise and Enterprise Plus plans. Hope you found this helpful. If you do have any other questions or concerns, understand as well that we at Surface are Asana Solutions Partners. And so what that means is we can answer these questions for you. We can help you get your enterprise space set up by deploying your licenses. By working with a partner like us, you would gain added incentives, discounts, additional support as well. And so please let us know. Contact us, visit surface.com/licenses. If you want to learn more, there will be a link in the description as well. But as always, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.